Every debt demands a payment. So, one of the concepts in the Bible that we're shown is the concept of sin and payment. Every sin demands a payment. Now, Jesus Christ came down and paid for those sins. That debt, he paid for it in full for us with his sacrifice on the cross. Now, some people have a hard time wrapping their head around that. Like, why was that required? Why something like that, Jesus's brutal death, why was that required? Well, let's think about it in a concept that we can all understand. The concept is debt, right? We all can understand debt. We've all probably had debt in our lives or still do, right? Every debt has to be paid. Always. It doesn't just disappear. Now, there's certain things that can happen with that debt, and I'll run into that here in a second, but the debt has to be paid. So, for example, let's say, you loan your car to your neighbor, right? They're backing out of your driveway and somehow they get, they're not used to a stick shift or something and they throw it into drive when they meant to go in the reverse and they end up, what do you have? Have a car in your living room. There's a big hole in the side of your house. Now you've got a huge mess. Car's broken, the house is broken, there's damage, there's glass everywhere, there's debris everywhere. Everyone's, worried and embarrassed. What happened? At that moment, there is a debt. Something's been broken, something major, and somebody has to pay to make it right. So what do you have? You have three options. One, you demand them pay the full cost of repair since they're the ones that did the damage. They owe the debt. That would be considered justice, right? Or you have option two, where you could split it. This is what we call compromise. You pay half, I'll pay half. And then you have option three, where you say, you know what? I'm going to cover the cost myself. That would be mercy. That would be forgiveness. Now, here's the thing. I mean, no matter what, that debt has to be paid. Someone has to pay. The damage just doesn't vanish. The hole in the side of your house doesn't just go away unless somebody repairs it. And those repairs are going to cost, they're going to cost something. Now, I experienced this firsthand a little while back. My wife had a new car. One of my daughter's friends came over and they were in the golf cart and somehow got the reverse mixed up with the drive, same scenario, slammed in the side of my wife's car, and there was $2,000 worth of damage. So I had that same option, right? I could say, hey, obviously the little girl's not going to pay it. I would have to get her parents involved. And I could demand that they pay the cost to repair since it was their daughter, right? That would have been justice. I could say, we'll go halfsies. Or I could, you know what? Do what I did, which was option three. And I said, you know what? I'll cover the cost myself. What did I do? I showed mercy. I showed forgiveness. Now, that's exactly how sin works. Every sin, every lie, every selfish act, every rejection of God, it causes damage, right? There is a debt. It breaks his law. It offends his holiness, and it leaves that debt. Romans tells us the wages of sin are death. That's the payment due. That's justice. Now, God could have demanded what? He could have demanded justice that we pay for it in full, eternal judgment. That's the cost of sin against an infinite God. Or he could have said, let's split the difference. But that's not how holiness works. God can't overlook sin. That would be violating his own justice, his own nature. So what did he do? He chose option three. He paid it himself through Jesus Christ. God took on the cost of our rebellion. The cross is where, that full price was paid, not reduced, not ignored, but it was paid in full through Jesus' sacrifice, through his death on the cross. That's why Jesus said on the cross, it is finished. In Greek, that literally meant paid in full. So when you trust in Christ, you're not getting this free pass. You're getting a paid for pardon. The debt still mattered. The debt still required a payment, but Jesus covered it all. And that's the beauty of grace. You and I, we broke it, but he bought it. We caused the damage, but Jesus paid the price for us. That's not cheap mercy. That's a very costly love. So the next time you think about sin, remember, forgiveness isn't free. It's just the bill, it was sent to heaven. Jesus signed for it in his own blood. And that's an incredible thing. So I'm very thankful for that. You should be as well. God bless. Thanks for watching today, and I will see you back next time. Bye.